Okay.
Alright, so let's go round one. So this format is just first to 3 in each round, and it's basically best of 1. And we kind of do this format mostly just because swap, unlike Puyo, tends to take a little longer, just because, you know, you kind of have to fill up 2 boards as opposed to just 1.
Yeah, the 25 seconds, it's hard to kill someone in a single board.
Right, and especially our players here, based off of what I watched of the tournament yesterday, they generally don't have chaining power on the Puyo side at the very least to be able to, you know, one-hit KO. Well, some of the players here do, but generally speaking, they need to go through multiple iterations before they can top out the player in Puyo. For Tetris, you can see Zero, most likely much better at Tetris. He's got the well on the right side, hallmark of classic Tetris. Not so much of Guideline, but, you know, Tetris is still pretty effective.
Yeah, still he's getting the 3 chains, yeah, and that's enough to fill a good chunk of your board.
Right, so even though it's not fatal, because the damage, the garbage blocks in Puyo are blocking, even a 3 chain, which fills up, you know, like I said, roughly half the board, that's enough to be like super debilitating. You know, stop your opponent dead in their tracks if they're trying to plan something and they don't have a response. Now, one thing about swap mode that's different from if you've played either pure Tetris or pure Puyo is that the garbage will not fall on your board as long as you keep matching Puyos or clearing lines. It's called an infinite offset. So what you'll see some players attempt to do is, you know, if there's garbage incoming that they can't deal with, try to stall it out and try to tank it on the other board.
So how was the Puyo tournament yesterday?
I didn't get to catch most of it just because I was getting a little salty from football. But it was fine. I mean, I think that there were the 2 biggest killers in that bracket from what I saw were Killer Orcus, who goes by the name Edward on this bracket, who you'll see in short order, and this player named Amanda, who I'm not familiar with. And generally speaking, most players who just start with Puyo, usually the max chain they'll be able to do without much training is about, I'd say, what, like 3, maybe 4 if they get lucky?
Yeah, if you have no strategy and you're not like particularly savvy with the Puyos, your 3 chain's probably going to be your largest you get intentionally.
Yeah, I remember Killer Orcus and Amanda were both, you know, doing 5 chains at the minimum, so definitely capable. I think Edward, who in this bracket is probably one to look out for in terms of, you know, dangerous players and favorites to win the tournament. We might have a few others as well.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, so you can see right there, intentional 2 chain. Just takes what he can get.
So I think just based on how Zero's playing, I think he has some kind of game plan. I mean, his chaining ability maybe isn't quite up there, but, you know, being able to decide and, you know, at least attempt to plan on the chain already makes a huge world difference in Puyo Puyo.
For sure. Plus also he's got, you know, basic stacking abilities. He's not building himself into any corners with Tetris.
Yeah, so you can see on May's board, her matrix is super disorganized. Like, even if you clear a line, it's not going to send much garbage to the opponent.
Yeah, a single line clear, I don't know if this is the same for swap, but a single line clear doesn't send any garbage in Tetris.
Right.
So you've got to at least do a double line clear, or, you know, a 2 single line combo.
Or you can do a swap combo.
Swap combo. Have we seen any swap combos yet?
I don't think so. So another unique mechanic in swap mode is, as you might have been able to guess, called a swap combo. It's basically what happens is when the board switches over, any piece that you had ready to go, it keeps falling. And what'll happen is if a piece falls in the background and actually clears a line or pops some Puyo, and you clear something on the active board as well, it initiates what's called a swap combo. And what that does, it powers up your chain by some kind of multiplier. And I believe originally it was thought that this multiplier was flat. It was the same no matter how big your swap combo was. But I did a little bit of research recently, which seems to suggest that the multiplier actually scales up as your swap combo increases up to, I believe, 1.65.
Yeah, so for anyone who thought that might have been too many words, basically, if you clear anything on one board as well as the other board at the same time, you get more garbage.
Yeah, it basically powers up whatever chain you had going in the background and as on your current board. So, especially at a higher level, it's very important to be able to use those swap combos just because of how much that garbage multiplier adds. You see Zero over here, down stacking his Tetris board fairly effectively. He's not in any danger of dying pretty soon. Another thing to note is that just like in Puyo Puyo and swapped mode, there is also margin time active. So after a while, just kind of a hurry up mechanic, your chains will start, even the small one chains or one line clears, after a certain amount of time, will actually start sending garbage, and fairly significantly as time goes on.
Yeah, so as you can see, they're not building strong enough to really make killer blows, but eventually that'll ramp up to be strong enough, these simpler attacks. It's like that single set of Puyo clear shouldn't have sent garbage normally, but since margin time was in effect, it's a single garbage.
Alright, so Zero here, who started out strong, is starting to look like he's struggling a little bit, trying to figure out how to make a chain on his current board.
But that 3-chain then swapped over. Not the most intentional move, but it was definitely a good idea to absorb that over on the Tetris side rather than the Puyo side.
Right.
That's one thing in swap is Tetris's ability to absorb garbage considerably outshines Puyo's ability to do so.
Right. So you'll see some players intentionally stall out the Puyo side of the board just so they can absorb the garbage on the Tetris side instead. So if you want to time your attack to try to make the biggest impacts on the board state, you might want to wait until you're sure that the Puyo side is the one that's going to get hit with garbage. So you can see May over there kind of did something like that. You can see Zero's Tetris board this time looking fairly messy. He just needs to down stack and get those sweet 4-line clears.
And then I guess another thing is that when your piece swaps over to the other board, if you don't line clear with the piece that's dropping, it disappears. So it's a way that you can destroy a Puyo that you don't find favorable.
Ooh, big damage. Oh, sorry, I'm watching the stream instead of...
Yeah, no problem.
Sure. Alright, so we're now in round 4. May finally got on the board.
I think Zero might have thought he had a perfect clear there. He had the wrong symmetry on the piece.
Yeah. That's something that I actually have problems dealing with. I always get like ZNSs and LMGs mixed up.
Yeah, so for anyone who's not familiar with that concept, if you clear all the pieces on either your Puyo or Tetris board, you get bonus garbage. In Tetris, you get a perfect clear, and that just is a more powerful strike. And then in Puyo, you have an all clear, which attaches a full rock of garbage to your next attack.
Right. So and that's like 30 garbage, which is stronger than the 3 chain.
It's
So
5 lines of garbage, and you have 12 active lines, so you can fill up someone's board pretty effectively.
Especially if they're not savvy about it and they don't expect it.
If they're flat stacking, then you just covered everything.
You'll see some players, when an all-player situation happens, start to intentionally build extremely vertically just because, you know, they're not quite sure when the opponent's going to send garbage. So they want to make sure they can withstand just like even a small one-chain attack because it's just so quick and deadly.
Is Megan gonna stall it out? It didn't matter though.
Alright, Zero takes our first game of the tournament.